What's up again, guys? Brian here at 3TR, and I would like to welcome you to another game review, and this time I'm doing my review of Injustice: Gods Among Us. Now, this game was developed by the same guys that brought us 2011's Mortal Kombat Netherealm Studios, and in terms of story, if you've been reading the comic books as I have, it kind of plays off the idea of what would happen if Superman lost everything, including Lois Lane, his unborn child, and Metropolis at the same time, and realized that perhaps in order to bring true peace, he needs to take dictatorial control and make things in his vision in order to bring worldwide peace. And over time, the rest of the heroes kind of jump on the bandwagon and say, you know what, I would rather be fighting with Superman than against him. So they kind of all convert to his regime. This, however, forces Batman to have to look to other means in order to stop Superman's new developing control. Now, unfortunately, the biggest problem I have with the storyline is that instead of being projected as a what-if scenario as the comic books are showed, it kind of thrusts into the Justice League episode of Better World, in which Batman brings forth another version of the Justice League, or certain members, brings them to his time and then asks for their help in order to take down Superman. And, you know, throughout the game they have to take out certain characters, take out certain, you know, locations and positions in order to bring Superman's government down, which then leads to a final clash between two particular characters, which I'm sure I don't even need to mention in this review, but I'm sure you can see it coming. It's just very predictable, and instead of going with an original concept, which really would have maybe given me a viewpoint of what would really happen if Superman went this way, they just kind of go for a generic storyline that we've seen done before and done better. Now, going into gameplay feels a lot like Mortal Kombat. That much is clear. It's definitely the 2D, 3D fighter. However, I believe that in terms of overall speed quality, in terms of the combos and special attacks, it's a bit stiffer than in Mortal Kombat. In that game, you actually could generally link up certain combos and basic attacks very well. And this one, there's a bit of a pause, or kind of like characters don't move forward as much as you want to, or they can't really block. And in terms of blocking, in order to do that, you have to pull back instead of just having a button that allows you to block. Now, as you're doing damage and causing damage, as you're taking in damage, your bar meter will fill, and as it fills up, you'll be able to enhance certain attacks, use special moves, and in many ways, use certain finishers, which for each character are vastly unique, cause certain amounts of damage, and require a special stimulation in order to properly execute it. That much with a variety of characters is very useful in terms of being able to master your character. So I don't think any one person will be able to master multiple characters. It's best to pick maybe 3 or 4 of your favorites, as I did, and just practice on those 3. Now, in terms of certain mechanics going in at the stages, which is a major addition, is that all the different stages have, I would call it, environmental attacks. These environmental attacks are very well introduced into the series and can tip the battle. I strongly recommend that you really master using these particular environmental attacks in your combat during opponents, because most likely if you are taking on an opponent who very well knows how to use these environmental attacks, you mostly will lose maybe 9 out of 10 times, as I did. Although throughout the storyline I really didn't die all that much. Now, going into multiplayer, I'm not much of a multiplayer person, but from what I've heard is that the lag from Mortal Kombat 2011 is gone, and it's much more smooth. It has a lot of the same match qualities, no King of the Hill versus matches, competitions, spectator mode, all those really good features that were in Mortal Kombat, they are here. However, the one thing they did remove was the ability to have tag matches, or as I was hoping, maybe have a 3-on-3 tag match. I was really looking forward to actually bringing together the DC Trinity that would pretty much dominate the entire, I don't know, maybe PlayStation Network, but that's just not in here. Instead, NetherRealm Studios just decided to go of a much more narrower, simpler form of combat of just having one-on-one. If they do decide to do a sequel, I would really like for them to add tag team, because adding tag team allows us to see which characters are good and compatible with whatever characters. I'd really like to see Batman and Superman team up as them being the world's finest, but that's just not in this game. Now, in terms of extras, this game has a lot of extras after beating both the multiplayer fights and the storyline, and as you're playing both, you'll collect like little rewards that you can then use to unlock, you know, concept art, costumes, and bios, in particular endings for each character if they win like a certain Mortal Kombat tournament-like versus mode. And so in terms of extras, it definitely has a lot, and if you're a completist like some people I know, it's very time consuming, and a lot of the extras are very well worthy and would be a great addition to any major fan of DC. Now, unfortunately, this game does get a lot more right than it goes wrong, but Mortal Kombat, I believe, did it a lot better than this one in terms of story and execution. But that does not say that this is a bad game. It still stands on its own, and it is truly one of the best fighting games that I have played in a long time, probably since Mortal Kombat, and is certainly better than any Marvel fighting game I've played, which is why I'm happy to give Injustice Gods Among Us an 8 out of 10. A must-own for any fan of fighter games or comic books on the DC side. If you like this review, please like, comment down below, and please subscribe to check me in my future game reviews. And like always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.